There is a process happening every time you enter a room. It begins before you speak, before you choose your words or arrange your expression, before you decide how you want to be perceived. The people around you have already begun building a model of who you are. They are assembling it from fragments: your pace, your posture, the direction of your gaze, the micro moments of hesitation that surface and vanish before your conscious mind has time to register them. Most of them are doing this without knowing they're doing it. A smaller number are doing it with intention. And almost all of them are arriving at conclusions that are more accurate than you would be comfortable with. This is not a metaphor. This is behavioral science. The human brain is a pattern recognition engine that evolved in social environments where accurately reading other people was a survival function. Your ancestors, who could rapidly assess another person's emotional state, intention, and threat level, survived at higher rates than those who couldn't. That capacity didn't disappear. It became embedded. It runs automatically beneath the layer of conscious social processing in every interaction you have. The person across from you in a conversation is running a continuous background process, reading your behavioral signal, updating their model, adjusting their response. They may have no language for what they're doing. They may experience it only as intuition, as a gut sense, as something they can't explain. But the data driving that intuition is real. That came from you. What gets read first is not what you intend to project. It is your baseline, the default behavioral signature that emerges when you are not actively managing your presentation. The way your shoulders carry their tension before you've said a word. The quality of stillness or restlessness in your body when you're waiting. The micro adjustments your face makes in the fraction of a second before your social expression settles into place. Behavioral analysts call these pre-performance leaks, the signals that escape before the performance begins. They are disproportionately revealing, because they are the version of you that exists before the edit. Then there is the layer of deviation. Once your baseline has been established, consciously or not, the observer begins tracking the moments when your behavior breaks from its own pattern. This is where the real information lives. Not in the behavior itself, but in the inconsistency. It's a person who speaks with measured calm until a particular subject arises. It's a person whose eye contact shifts quality, not quantity, the moment a question touches something true. The laugh that arrives at the wrong moment. It's the pause that lasts half a second longer than the sentence required. These are not random. They are the body's honest response to a mind that is managing something. And they are readable to anyone paying the right kind of attention. Most people who profile you are not doing it deliberately. They are operating on social instinct, the accumulated pattern recognition of a lifetime of human interaction. When someone tells you they had a feeling about you, that feeling has a source. When someone says they knew something was off, that knowing came from data, behavioral data, transmitted by you, received and processed beneath the level of their awareness, and surfacing as certainty they can't fully explain. This is the baseline condition of human social life. You are always being read. The question is only how accurately. But there is a second category, the deliberate observer. The person who has studied the mechanics of behavioral reading and applies them with intention. This is the trained negotiator, the behavioral analyst, the profiler. The person who has spent years learning to extract signal from behavior with the kind of precision most people never develop. For this observer, a conversation is not just an exchange of information, it is a field. They are collecting data in real time, building a map of your psychological architecture, your dominant fears, your emotional triggers, your relationship to authority, your baseline comfort with uncertainty. By the time you feel seen by this person, they already know more about you than you have chosen to reveal. What they know is not always the story you're managing. It is the story underneath the management. It's the emotional pattern that persists across contexts. It's the survival strategy that appears in every high-stakes situation, regardless of how much experience and self-awareness you've accumulated. Because behavior is not random, it is patterned. And patterns, once you know how to look for them, are remarkably consistent across situations, across time, across the layers of identity you construct and present to the world. Here is the part that most people don't fully absorb until they begin learning this themselves. The profile being built of you is often more accurate than your own self-perception. Not because the observer knows you better than you know yourself, in some mystical sense, but because they are reading behavior. And behavior is less edited than belief. You can believe you are calm while your body signals anxiety. You can believe you have moved past something while your reactions continue to reveal its presence. The observer is not reading what you think about yourself. They are reading what you do. And what you do is often a more reliable account of who you are than the narrative running in your own mind. The reason this knowledge is uncomfortable is not because it exposes you to danger. It is because it closes a gap you may not have known you were relying on. It's the gap between who you present and who you are. It's between the version of yourself you have carefully constructed and the behavioral signal that continues to transmit beneath it. As most people live inside that gap and call it privacy. Called that way, it is a Tate. But it is also the space where behavioral intelligence operates. Attain now that you know the space exists. You cannot pretend it doesn't. What changes when you know this is not your vulnerability? What changes is your awareness of the field. You begin to recognize the process as it happens, both in yourself and in others. You notice when someone shifts from social listening to behavioral reading. You begin to see the profile being assembled in real time. Gradually, deliberately, you develop the capacity to understand not just what you are transmitting, but what the people around you are transmitting, whether they know it or not. That is the beginning of a different kind of literacy. Not the kind you were taught, the kind that actually governs the room.